Hello and welcome to this very special episode of B-Movie Enema the series. I'm Jeff Arbuckle. With me as always is the eternally fantastic Nurse Disembaudee. Nurse, how are you doing? Are you ready for this special episode?
I am. Tell everyone what's so special about it.
Well, this so happens to be the 50th episode of this very show.
Hooray!
Well, that's right. In just over 2 calendar years, I've managed to somehow fart out like 50 full episodes. Oh, I'm sorry, Poop Shoot. Of course, you fart out most of these movies. Bad choice of words on my part there. But still, 50 goddamn episodes, that's no small feat.
No, it really isn't. But also, this day is special for another reason. It's your birthday.
Well, yes, it is. It's very kind of you to remember.
I mean, it's not like you didn't put it on the calendar, then circle it, then for weeks leading up to it, you had a countdown to your birthday. Then on January 11th, it said 1 month until Jeff's birthday. On August 11th, you always say it's your half birthday. Are you a 46-year-old man or a 16-year-old self-obsessed teenage girl?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Well, that's weird. Anyway, I got you a birthday present.
You did? Aw, well, that's very sweet of you.
I'm not sure what you were planning on playing for the 50th episode, but I think you're going to have to change your mind.
Oh?
Oh yes. After months of hunting and searching after you requested it, I finally obtained a copy of it.
Oh man, if this is what I think it is, it might just be the best birthday of all time.
It sure is what you think it is. It's the 1979 Spanish superhero classic, Supersonic Man.
Yes! Finally! Get the fuck out of here, Citizen Kane. You're not 50th episode worthy.
Wait, you were gonna show Citizen Kane?
Not anymore, I have Supersonic Man.
Oh, but Citizen Kane could really help legitimize...
Yeah, Supersonic Man.
Alright, whatever.
Okay, so Supersonic Man, and we've talked about this a little bit back in Season 3 when I showed the Puma Man, but 1978's big budget and special effects progressing hit Superman made nearly as big of a splash as 1977's Star Wars. Before Superman, comic book heroes were almost considered kid stuff. That was not helped by a couple of factors. The first was simply that comic books were mostly bought and consumed and read by kids. When you have characters doing over-the-top heroic stuff with powers and wearing flashy colors, and mostly tights, and constantly handing out morality lessons, well, that's going to mostly appeal to kids. Not really until the 90s and later did you see people continue to read comic books on a weekly and monthly basis well beyond their teen years. The other factor that seemed to plant comic books squarely in the just for kids corner of entertainment was the Batman television series from the mid to late 60s. There was almost an insistence by creator William Dozier to make that show ridiculously over the top to appeal to mostly children. Watching that show now as an adult is extremely difficult, but as a kid, I absolutely loved it. However, regardless if the show was taking the piss at the comic book industry or the characters in American comic books in particular, or if it really was meant to be legitimate kids' entertainment, it hurt the image of comics. It hurt that character in particular for a few years until Bats was able to be brought back to his crime-solving detective roots in the early 70s. That said, there was also a concern over how comics were shaping kids and the way they acted. And that was a huge problem in the 50s that really stunted American comics from being for kids and teens and adults alike and expanded into mature themes. That's all thanks to this garbage book called Seduction of the Innocent by hack psychiatrist Frederick Wortham. Less said about that, the better, and there are many others out there who can say much more than I about that book's influence on how comics were viewed by parents and other adults who were looking out for the kids. Now, if there was one place where comic books were taken seriously, it was pretty much, well, everywhere else outside of English-speaking countries. Europe, South America, and of course, Japan have had this long history of deep appreciation of comic books for all different ages. And when it comes to European appreciation for comic books and graphic novels, France and Italy seem to have kind of led the way. France was the home for great artists like Moebius, real name Jean Giraud, and the marvelous sci-fi series Valerian and Laureline by Pierre Christin and Jean-Claude Mézières. Italy was one of the better, has one of the better mature titles in all the world with Dylan Dog, created by Tiziano Sclavi, and even had guest writers over in different times and different periods like Dario Argento. So it should be no surprise that we have movies like Supersonic Man and The Puma Man coming from European filmmakers after the success of Superman.
This better be at least half as good as The Puma Man. I loved that movie.
Oh yeah, you like this movie a lot. Now Supersonic Man has a lot to live up to in order to be half as good as The Puma Man. Now we are going to get started here, but real quick, this movie comes from a pair of filmmakers that we know around here. Last year, we talked about Extraterrestrial Visitors, aka Pod People. Well, director Juan Picar Simone and producer Dick Randall worked together on a handful of movies. The pair worked together on Supersonic Man, then the cult classic Slasher Pieces, and then Extraterrestrial Visitors. Randall often worked with partners on the producing side of things, and for Supersonic Man and Extraterrestrial Visitors, Randall partnered with Farouk Alatin. Now, Randall produced nearly 6 movies, and he did a lot of work kind of similar to how Roger Corman would crank out cheap exploitation entertainment. He made movies like Kong Island, which is a sort of gender-flipped Tarzan-like adventure horror film. He made sexploitation films, he made kung fu films, he made slashers, he made sci-fi movies, he made all sorts of movies. And one of the worst movies I've ever covered on the B-Movie Enema blog was one of his produced movies, Don't Open Till Christmas. That movie is an absolute mess that was handed from one director to the next in a desperate attempt to save the troubled production. But anyway, Nurse.
What's up, Geoff?
I'm ready for some Spanish Superman ripoff action.
Then let's get to it.
Okay, let's.
And when we come back, I'm sure we'll have a special guest to stop by to say happy birthday to you and celebrate this special episode.
Well, that sounds super. Sonic. Man.
Supersonic, return to life. You have been chosen to carry out a difficult and dangerous mission. Your spaceship is heading for the planet Earth, third planet of the star Sol. That is your destination. We have come to realize that the men who inhabit this planet insist on employing their intelligence in a most dangerous manner. They are making use of powerful forces not fully under their control, which could easily destroy their entire world and produce immense shock waves throughout the galaxy. You must prevent this. The ship's memory banks will provide you with all that is known about terrestrials so that you may circulate freely, speaking and behaving like one of them. We will provide you with a body and endow it with exceptional powers which will make you almost invincible. Use them with discretion and only when the truth requires it. Take care that your new being does not control your true nature. May the force of the galaxies go with you.
in at this hour?
Guard. No one answers. What kind of tomfoolery is this? What's going on? Help! No! Oh, no! My God! Good. Now I have you. I have got you now, Professor. You are in my hands, in my power.
for the latest news, we take you to our mobile unit at the Center for Energy and Space Research.
This is Fred Moreland speaking to you from the Center for Energy and Space Research. 8 guards mortally wounded, the disappearance of Professor Morgan, the well-known scientist, the theft of a large quantity of radioactive material. All this happened last night in a well-organized armed attack on the center. In spite of the understandable reserve of the authorities, we've managed to get into the center and turn our camera on Colonel Johnson, who is responsible for security. Colonel, how could an attack like this happen?
Well, I'm not prepared to be categorical on that, but my men can demonstrate the attackers were not only perfectly familiar with the layout here, but knew our system of alarms as well.
Do you think it's possible that one of the employees revealed this information?
Well, I'd prefer not to, but I'm afraid we have to consider it. You see, our system of alarms and security was designed and prepared to our order, and I must assure you that it's extremely effective. Therefore, it would certainly take someone with a profound knowledge of its mechanics to put it out of action.
I see. And do you have any idea as to the whereabouts of Professor Morgan?
No. For the moment, in spite of all our efforts, we're still completely in the dark.
I take it Professor Morgan knew the alarm system.
Yes, obviously. He was one of the scientists who designed it.
Was the professor familiar with all the research that's going on in the various sections of the center?
Yes.
As you can see, Professor Morgan, everything has been planned down to the last detail, including the insinuation of your own guilt.
But what is it you want?
Thank you, Colonel.
Don't you know? Can't you guess?
Do you know anything about your father's
I
disappearance?
have nothing to say.
What do you think happened?
I don't know. Maybe he was kidnapped, although I don't know why or by whom.
Don't you think he might have gone someplace of his own free will?
Then he would have gotten in touch with me.
Are you quite sure?
Completely.
According to our information, your father had recently received some tempting offers from private industry as well as from other governments.
I know what you're trying to insinuate, but my father is a very honest man, and his whole way of living proves it. I don't know where he is, dead or alive, but I intend to find out the whole truth.
Bravo.
I'm sure we all wish you the best of luck.
Touching.
I hope you'll let
A
us
pure
know.
example of filial love.
My poor daughter.
Don't worry, Professor. Your poor daughter will soon be with you.
And that brings us to the end of this special report. This is Fred Moore.
May the great force, the galaxies, be with me.
Let's see if we have better luck with this one. Young lady, I wonder if you would care to join in our campaign for the salvation of the heart and drink it. Your contribution would save a soul wallowing in sin. Nothing. Not a red cent. You know what that means, sugar? You understand? The whole city is corrupted by vice.
Are you sure it's her?
Of course I am. Do I look stupid?
Keep close to her. We don't want to lose her. We better get her over with soon. She might shake us in this traffic.
No, we gotta wait for the right moment.
But where the hell's she going?
I think she's caught on. She's trying to get away.
If she gets away, we're in trouble. Step on it.
The brakes! The brakes! She's out of control! Ah!
Are you all right?
Get away from me.
Don't be afraid. It's all over.
My car.
Yes, it wasn't as lucky as you were, but with a couple of days in the shop, it'll be like new.
And the other guys?
They went over the cliff. I don't think anyone got out. We better get out of here. It's starting to rain. Why were they following you?
I don't know. At first I thought they were just drunken bums or something. But when I saw the gun, I got awfully scared.
What I really don't understand too well is how you got around that steamroller.
I don't know. I'm still confused, but I thought I saw a man dressed in red move it off the road.
And how do you handle a machine that heavy so fast?
Oh, it wasn't hard. He just lifted it so I could get by.
The steamroller. He just lifted it. The steamroller, are you joking? Are you really all right?
Yes, I know it all sounds ridiculous. It does to me. But it's all I can remember. And where did you suddenly appear from?
From the highway. I saw the car chasing you when it went over.
Why didn't you call the police?
Why? You were all right, and there was nothing anyone could do for the others. The police will find them.
Do you have something to hide?
Well, I wouldn't quite say that, but private detectives make the police nervous.
But we'll have to notify them. Don't forget my car is still there.
Yeah, maybe we better do that. I've got an idea. I know a nice little French restaurant not far away. We can phone them from there. Anyway, aren't you hungry?
I don't know.
I find excitement gives me a terrible appetite. Cheer up, I'm inviting you to dinner.
I don't usually eat with strangers.
Stranger? I'm Paul. I'm no stranger.
I'm Patricia Morgan.
How do you do? Thank you. Are you sure this Harrison knows where to find your father?
No, I'm not. But it's the only clue I have so far.
In cases like this, there are always sharpies trying to get a piece of the action. How much does he want?
$5,000. He said he was taking a big risk.
Why didn't you tell the police?
That was the first thing he warned me against. He said that if I did, I would never see my father again.
That figures. Well, I guess this is the moment to offer my services. But don't get excited. I'm not as strong as this fantastic Superman, dressed in red, who, according to you, saved your life. But I know my job, and by strange coincidence, I have some free time. Seriously, I'd like to help you.
I wouldn't want to involve anybody else.
Don't worry. Where were you supposed to meet this Harrison?
He gave me a phone number. I was supposed to call him from a bar on 72nd Street.
Strange. Let's give him a ring.
I was to call him before 7. He said not to call him after 7 under any circumstances. Isn't that strange?
Well, there's only one thing to do. Let's go and call him. Could be a trap or a practical joke.
Okay.
Rio Hotel? What's that? Harrison? Who's speaking?
No, don't tell
A friend of his.
Just a minute.
Hello?
Mr. Harrison,
Who's speaking?
this is Patricia Morgan.
I told you not to call me after 7.
I know, but it was impossible for me to call earlier. Something happened.
I warn you, if you're trying to trick me, your father will suffer for it.
No, it's not what you think. I had an accident with the car. When can I see you?
Not right now.
But I must.
I gotta hang up.
No, wait. Listen, I have to talk to you. I've got the money. I swear it's not a trick.
All right, I'll take a chance on it.
Tomorrow evening at 6, I'll meet you in the
Bar on the corner of 165th Street and Amsterdam Avenue.
But how will I know you?
Listen for a Western record.
Hey! He hung up.
It doesn't matter. Come on.
Hello, Peterson. Is that you?
Well, good night, Patricia. I'll call you tomorrow. Lock your door and don't open it for anybody. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call me, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Paul. You've been great. Good night.
Good night.
Till tomorrow.
Right.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to make a small donation to save a fellow human being from the torments of eternal bondage to alcohol? A few bucks to make him a new man.
Actually, I'm a new man myself. I come from one of those planets up there. It's no big deal.
Huh? Oh, my God. You hear that, Sugar? He's one of those extra testicles.
Charlie Alpha 57 calling base. Charlie Alpha 57 calling base. Request landing instructions.
Base to Charlie Alpha. Maintain coordinates 649. Repeat, 649.
Pad clear, Charlie Alpha. Come in. Check instruments and controls. Ready for touchdown.
All controls ready, Mr. Peterson.
Mr. Peterson. Come here.
Yes, sir.
You've done an excellent job. One more shipment and I can complete the final phase of my plan.
Thank you, Dr. Gulick. However, I think we better postpone the next raid. The disappearance of Professor Morgan has put the whole country in a panic.
No, we can't wait. The raid will take place tomorrow as planned.
They've tightened up security. They might capture some of us.
Mr. Peterson, I don't think you understood what I said. We can't wait. You have all the means necessary to ensure that the operation is a complete success. I don't allow failure. I hope you understand that. Do you hear? I want success.
Pardon me, Dr. Gulick, but I think...
No, you don't think, Mr. Peterson. I'll take care of that. Act. Is that clear? Your job is action. Now the girl. Where is she? She must be absolutely functional.
I was about to tell you. The operation failed. The 2 men I sent after her had a fatal accident.
What in blazes are you saying? Are you trying to say that Patricia Morgan is not under our control?
That's right, sir. But we're keeping close tabs on her, and we know that she's meeting a guy tonight in a bar on Amsterdam Avenue. I intend to have the place staked out.
What? It is essential that Patricia Morgan be here tomorrow with no more delays and no excuses. Have I made myself sufficiently clear? Tomorrow!
I'm gonna regret bringing this up.
Go on, we're open to sharing here.
Supersonic flies in a giant space dick, doesn't he?
Hell yeah, he does. That's a guy who, 1, knows he's got a giant space dick, and 2, is comfortable with wearing tiny Speedos.
I think I might throw up.
Nah, you're fine, nurse.
Oh, am I? Am I going to be fine?
Sure. Say, how about those goons all basically rocking those laser guns? It's 1979. Star Wars and Superman are both things, so you better get superheroes and goons, and those goons better have laser guns for the big bad guy.
They also have a giant flame-throwing robot.
Hell yeah, they do. Nurse.
What's up?
You were able to track down Supersonic Man.
For better or worse?
Yeah, well, can you track down a flame-throwing robot for me?
Now, why on earth would you want a flame-throwing robot?
Oh, I think it could be fun to have around the practice. He could help check people in. You know that sometimes Gertie gets a little overrun on busier days.
So you want a flame-throwing robot to help her?
Yes, I do. That would be totally sweet. And in fact, if I want a whole gaggle of goons to help out around here, order up matching black costumes. And I think I'll think up a logo that we can, paint, and we can paint some gas masks to match the color of that logo too.
Geoff.
You know what? And get me a sweet control room too.
I don't know if...
Do it! Anyway, I do appreciate the score to this movie, at least during the goons doing the heist of the professor dude. It sounds a lot like those old NFL film Super Bowl highlights music. It's like these guys weren't doing, highly illegal shit. It was like the Pittsburgh Steelers methodically drove their way down the field and Franco Harris capped it off with a pretty 9-yard run. But our plot to this point is that Professor Morgan has been stolen away by a flame-throwing robot. No one knows how the bad guys could have possibly gotten into where the professor was because, that place's security is obviously top-notch due to the complete and utter lack of much of any kind of security measures at the gate or the doors or the inside.
If I'm being honest, I'm not sure there were any other employees inside that place besides Professor Morgan.
Most definitely, I'm pretty sure there wasn't anybody else there. But at his swank home with a bunch of pictures of different boats on the wall, we have the mustachioed Paul. Now, Paul is watching the news report of the kidnapping of the professor, and he picks up the newspaper to see a picture of the professor with his daughter, Patricia. Now, the professor looks quite stunned that he has a daughter. I mean, seriously, did anybody, reconsider that prop? It's hilarious. But Paul transforms into Supersonic Man by saying his magic words, "May the great force of the galaxies be with me." And Supersonic Man's arrival in this metropolitan city seems to be quite the exciting thing for the peoples of the city because they're taking pictures, watching him fly around, pointing at him. You get it. I think that they think they got their very own Superman.
But he kind of sucks. At least he's sparkly with his cape and cowl and gloves and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose so. So Professor Morgan gets kidnapped by the evil Dr. Gulick, played by the always great Cameron Mitchell.
You're goddamn right I did.
Oh yeah, it's the ghost of Cameron Mitchell. How's it going?
Hi Cameron, how are you doing?
I'm doing swell, doll face.
Say, Cameron.
What's on your mind, kid?
I can't help but to notice that you are in a pretty bitchin' control room and you got yourself a goon back there.
Oh, this guy behind me? Yeah, things have progressed since we saw each other around Christmas time.
With the cult thing?
Oh, yeah. I've gone international.
Yeah, I can see that.
Aren't you kind of worried people will think you've gone radical up there with that heaven cult thing?
Nah, I mean, there's some fanaticals up here, but if I just keep them appeased by talking about domination and power and money and what have you, they mostly stay peaceful.
I'd still be a little concerned if people think you're doing bad things.
Now, nurse, I'm sure our Lord and Savior Cameron Mitchell has things all figured out up there.
Yeah, something like that.
Okie dokie. Well, let's get back to the movie. We'll be back after the next segment of Supersonic Man.
Excuse me, I tripped. You spilled beer all over my best jacket. You no good. Operator, give me the police. Make that an ambulance.
Grab her.
Look at that! The cliff's so deep on that side, the bottom's out of sight. I think we ought to dump him now. What? Better drop him off a pier. Yeah, that's a bright idea. That's what we'll do. We'll give him a swimming lesson. We'll tie the stone around his neck and... What's that? A bib?
A big stone around his neck.
May the force of the galaxies be with me.
Now stop when you come to the curve and park the truck and we'll dump that son of a bitch in there. And when we finish, it's time for something to eat.
Mimi!
Who the hell's Mimi? Who's she?
Meat and potatoes.
Huh? My God, what's that?
What's the matter? Brakes don't work.
Hey, look out, you're gonna hit him! Just a minute, I'll get him.
Oh, my head. It's some kind of ghost.
Help! Let me out of here! Run for it!
I am Supersonic.
Don't say anything, George.
They told us to dispose of this guy we didn't even know. They promised we'd be well paid as soon as we got rid of the body they were going to leave inside my truck. As soon as we finished, we were supposed to go to this farmhouse. It's only 60 miles away. Believe me, that's all we know. No. Ain't that right?
Yeah,
you see?
Sure is. Yeah.
It's the truth, Your Honor. Oh. You won't have to worry about us, sir. We won't bother you. I promise, Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Quick! Faster! Oh! Get out!
Magnesium, uranium, manganese, gold, silver, copper, aluminium, petroleum. All from our marine farms. What do you think about it, eh, Professor?
Your technology is highly advanced, so I don't understand what you expect from me.
Come, Professor. You underestimate my information. I know that with fluorine and liquid hydrogen, you have managed to produce the most powerful fuel in the world. And that with this combination, you can increase the power of the laser to the point where it becomes a veritable death ray.
Ah, that's it. I don't really know where you get your information. But you can be sure of one thing. You will never get the formula.
And never? What an unfortunate word. Very unpleasant. You know I could force you to help me. Or make you a rich man. I could make you the richest man in the world. Or the most miserable. It's your own option.
I have no fear of death.
Death? Ah. Well, you know, I do not philosophize as a rule. I detest philosophy. I prefer truth. As Shakespeare said, death is beauty, tranquility, and peace. But life can be expensive, ugly, painful. So take my advice, Professor. I advise careful meditation. Very careful, Professor. you going to bring her over?
Well, Dr. Gulick, I think that the best way is to have her picked up on the South Wharf. No one ever goes there. It's always deserted except for families and holidays. It's safe enough.
Good, Mr. Peterson. You see that the girl arrives tomorrow. Safe and sound. You understand? Safe and sound.
I understand. As for the next shipment, it's already prepared and waiting in warehouse section 4 and the pier they always use. I personally will arrange to have...
Careful, Mr. Peterson. There's someone in the house. A man dressed in red.
You better step on it or we'll be late. That bastard on the yacht may leave.
So why don't you take an airplane?
Hey, you crazy jerk. You trying to kill everybody?
The bumps come with the speed. Anyhow, I can't go no faster on a hog track like this.
Come on, get out.
No.
Hurry up.
Let's go.
Give me a hand.
No. You're hurting me.
Let her go. And I don't like bananas.
Don't be afraid. Your father will soon be free. Now you must go.
Hey, you all right? Call the base. I want to take a look around.
Okay. 3247, calling base. Emergency. Emergency.
Bravo! Bravo! And when Mr. Peterson arrives, let me know. Perfect. Make sure everything is ready. We now have everything. Today is a great day for science.
Science? No. For you, whose only interest in science is to use it for your own profit.
Profit? Why not? Man is greedy. Man is selfish. Do you think I'm the only one?
Unfortunately, no. But you are the worst of all of them. Because of your blind ambition, your monstrous ego, your complete lack of honesty. Good Lord. History is full of examples of misguided scientists who, through pride and ambition, created dreadful evils. There is almost nothing which has been discovered that cannot be used for bad as well as good. You run the risk of destroying the human race.
It may be as you say, Professor. But while some of those scientists created dreadful evils, others are worshipped as the saints of progress.
Hello.
Hi, this is Patricia.
Patricia, where are you? I've been worried about you.
I'm near your place, in a coffee shop on the corner.
I'll be down there in 5 minutes, okay? Bye-bye. How did you get away?
You won't believe it, but it was the Supersonic Stranger.
Super what? Oh, yeah, you mean your guardian angel in the red suit.
That's right. He set me free and promised to save my father.
Your father, too? Well, it doesn't look as if I've got anything left to do.
Oh, Paul, you've helped me a lot, and you have to keep on helping me. I hope you will.
Well, if you ask me like that, okay.
Idiots. Liars. You lie. You lie!
I swear to you, sir, there was nothing we could do. The bullets didn't have any effect on him.
Silence! Silence!
I must think this out calmly. I say that Patricia Morgan is the key. Professor Morgan is being troublesome. If we can get her, we can force him to cooperate. Mr. Peterson, you are my trusted aide. I must remind you that I will not tolerate failure.
Yes, sir. But I had other things to do. At least we got the shipment of iridium.
You can thank God for that. The iridium saved your life, and as for these two nothings, they sicken me. Get rid of them! Lose them!
Away with them. Out!
But, sir, everything we said was true. It really happened. We're not lying. Honest, we're telling the truth.
Out!
There really was a man dressed in...
Out!
We all saw him. Please,
Idiot!
please, listen.
I think there's some truth in what they're saying. The two men in the boat and the two truck drivers also spoke about this mysterious person who calls himself Supersonic. I'll bet it was the same guy who was prowling around my place. You saw him yourself.
Yes. The trouble is if it's a fact. If he exists. Who sent him? Who is he? From where? And more important, why? Why? Why?
I don't know, Dr. Gulick, but if everything is true, everything the men told you, his powers are really remarkable.
Lies, whole lies. The important thing is we must find him. We must find this strange devil or whatever the hell he is before he panics my entire organization.
But we don't know where to look.
It's simple. Simple. You find Patricia Morgan, and you'll find him. Twice, he has interceded on her behalf. It's elementary, my dear Peterson. It's obvious. You find her, you find him, and you destroy him. You destroy him. And that's an order.
I don't think you ought to go home. Those guys aren't going to leave you alone.
I have to be there in case anyone calls with news of my father. Don't worry, I'll do what you told me. Anyway, I have a gun.
All right, but I'll drop by your place this afternoon to make sure everything's okay.
Right, that'll give me a chance to pay back the dinner invitation.
Great, I'll bring the champagne.
Well.
feeling.
I think I saw somebody nosing around.
Yeah, I read you loud and clear. Go on, I'm listening.
Peterson, that man who was in the bar, the one who was with Patricia Morgan, is here. He's poking around.
Interfering son of a bitch.
I'm sure he's the one who blew up the truck and scared the drivers.
Perhaps. Is everything prepared for the arrival of the yacht?
Sure, as per usual.
Good work. Tell Loopy Jim and Dick to take care of the stranger. I'm glad to oblige if he wants trouble.
Okay.
Dr. Gulick, we managed everything. We have the shipment on board.
Good for you, Peterson. Excellent work. I look forward to your arrival. You see, Professor, everything is all going according to plan.
You may think it is, but many men have tried this in the past, and none has succeeded.
There are many distinguished names among the failures, as we all know, but I do not intend to join them.
Why must you persist in this reckless folly? What advantage can you gain from the illusion of power you can neither understand nor successfully control? Don't you realize that moral forces stronger than yourself will ensure that your attempted usurpation of supreme power must fail?
You dream, old man, and it's a bad dream. Morality, what the hell is that? Good over evil, morality is finished. It's over. So naive. Who will stop me? Not this foolish man in red with the blue face. Not this carnival freak. No one. You speak of force. Soon you will know the true force. You're intelligent. Why not support me? Honor, truth, justice, all the virtues, you name them, all go to the conqueror. And conquer I will. Veni, vidi, vici. It is only a question of time. And I will dominate everything. Everything.
Like Satan from the mountain.
No. Like God on top of the world.
You want me to make a choice? My God. No sane man in the world would take part in your horrendous projects of death, destruction, and desolation. We've already had our death camps.
Oh, there's no fool like an old fool. Idiot. Idiot.
I will give this movie one thing. It's doing what it can in the effects and visuals department. The flying effects are far better than the Puma Man. At least Supersonic Man flies level and parallel to the ground and not like a goofball like the Puma Man was. There was the scene in which the Peterson goon was landing the helicopter inside Gulick's base, and there was some decent miniature work done in that sequence. And that base of Gulick's, how awesome did that look?
I liked it so much I had it recreated up here. You have a base like that, you just feel kind of powerful and full of purpose and, I don't know, destiny or something.
I can see that.
I'm not sure it's a good idea to have a whole compound of goons.
Nurse, what are you doing?
Geoff, I think it's entirely possible that the ghost of Cameron Mitchell is up to some pretty nefarious stuff.
Little lady, I understand your concerns, but things are pretty good up here.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe you can show us around your digs up there?
That would be great, but, well, I instituted a whole thing about not being able to come up here unless you've, you know, died.
Yikes.
Well, now, Nurse, don't get too judgmental.
Geoff!
Oh, yeah. I'd have to die. Woof. Anyway, Cameron, let's talk about Supersonic Man.
Yes, let's.
So, is this movie an action movie, or sci-fi movie, or comedy?
Well, Geoff, I thought you'd know the answer to this, but I'll go ahead and answer. This is what you call European.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why you got the stuttering guy and the drunk trying to raise money for some reason.
And that really dumb bar fight?
Now you're getting it.
Do you ever get confused for William Shatner?
Oh, from time to time. I would have loved to work with Bill. We could have played brothers or something.
Oh my god, that would be the best movie ever made.
Wouldn't it?
If that movie did get made, Geoff would probably die and go to heaven and then probably join your organization.
I wear a 2X goon shirt, Cameron.
I'll make a note of it, but it's not your time yet. Hey, speaking of, I hear it's your birthday.
It sure is.
Well, that's just great. Look, kiddo, I gotta go and take care of some stuff. I had to send some goons over to kidnap Joan of Arc because she was working with some others who were trying to bring down my whole thing up here.
Understood.
I'll be seeing you around, dollface.
See you around, Cameron. Be careful up there.
You got it.
Oh, say, Cameron.
What you want, kid?
You think I could get one of those flame-throwing robots to have around the practice?
No.
There goes a great man.
I'm a little concerned over his cult and probably criminal empire he's got going on up there.
Nah, I'm sure it's fine. Now let's talk about our hero. Now, this is obviously played by two different people. The Mustachio Paul is played by Antonio Cantafora. Now, Cantafora by this time was a pretty experienced actor from Italy. He appeared in Mario Bava's Baron Blood. He was often credited as Michael Kobe when his films were released in English-speaking markets. And then the same year as this movie, he'd appear in the Joan Collins film with an interesting title and an even more interesting poster, The Bitch. By the way, The Bitch was based on a novel by Jackie Collins, who's Joan's sister. Did Jackie write the book with her sister in mind? Anyway, he would later appear in Demons 2, another pretty good movie. Supersonic Man, or as he's referred to in this, Supersonic, well, he's played by Jose Luis Ayesterin, who was only in a few movies. And I have a feeling that he might have been a model, or I guess he was a bodybuilder or something. But his previous films included a couple of turns as Tarzan. And then later, after this, he'd go on to do stunts in Conan the Barbarian. So he's probably mostly a stunt guy. Physique-wise, I suppose he does fit the bill as a superhero. But let's get into the final act of Supersonic Man, where I'm sure both Paul and Patricia will find themselves in even more trouble, and Supersonic Man will just have to come and save the day.
Do you think it was just a coincidence that man was nosing around our shipment?
I don't believe much in coincidences.
Who could he be?
That isn't important. Not the police, obviously. I think the best thing is to get rid of him quietly without making a fuss. We don't want Dr. Gulick worrying, do we? We've got enough problems to deal with as it is.
Yeah, you're right. We might as well just toss him overboard.
Yeah, but one thing. It's better if the two of us do it by ourselves. This is one story we want to keep private. Well, he won't be bothering us anymore.
Not now, he won't.
May the force of the galaxies be with you.
My God, it's that damn Supersonic. Action station! It'll be interesting to see if he's really impervious to bullets. Full speed ahead! More power!
Situation looks bad, doesn't it?
Not as bad as it'll look if we don't get rid of this son of a bitch.
Our spare fuel tanks are burning. What do we do?
Keep firing!
We better escape while we got time to get away. We must save the shipment. If anything happens to the iridium, old Gulick will blow his top.
You're right, we better go. This hulk is liable to go up in smoke any minute now. Come on, keep firing! Move! Keep firing!
She's going down.
Stop the engine! Stop the engine!
There's not much time. Quick, the submarine.
Who is it?
It's me, Paul.
What Paul? I don't know anyone called Paul.
Just open the door, will you?
You're in a good mood, eh?
Yes. Does it bother you?
No, on the contrary. Do you mind telling me why?
It's not often a girl is lucky enough to count on the help of a Superman.
Come on, let's not exaggerate.
Who's exaggerating? Don't you think it's important to have the help of Supersonic?
Supersonic. Let's forget him.
Actually, I can count on the help of 2 Supermen.
Nah, don't try to cover up.
But you two never appear at the same time.
You know something? I'm really curious to meet him.
I'm sure you'd like him.
I don't think so. Hey, what's this?
Would you like a drink?
It's not a bad idea.
How about champagne?
No, not now. Champagne. I left the champagne in the car.
Oh.
I'll be right back.
Well chilled, please.
Of course.
Hey there, buddy. You want a little champagne?
No, thanks.
Why not? It don't cost nothing.
May the force of the galaxies be with me.
That champagne was pretty powerful. Maybe it was drugged. Hey, Junkie?
Oh, sola mia, oh, sola mia. I don't believe it, mamma mia.
May the laxative be with me! May the laxative be with me! Well, you can't say I ain't lucky. I'll drink to that.
Who is this stranger? The enigma isn't where he comes from. He must come from someplace. I want him. I must have him. There must be some way we can trap him.
None of our weapons has the slightest effect on him, unfortunately.
But every man has his Achilles heel.
I believe he's from another planet.
So, another planet, all right. Earthly or not. We will find a way.
Well, I hope you don't.
Old man, what do you know? You know.
Energy. My energy. Solar energy. You know nothing. I must know where he's from. I must know the secret of the why and the how of this energy.
I hope you never find out.
You idiot. You old idiot. You talk of power. Very well. Then you shall now witness the truth of perfect power.
My good fellow, may I ask you for light? That has meant so much trouble. Thank you. That's very obliging of you.
What was that?
I don't know.
But please, Doctor, please. Patricia has nothing to do with this. Nothing.
Professor, are you so naive? I do believe you are. As we all know, the appearances of this mysterious supersonic are somehow always connected with your daughter. Furthermore, your Patricia knows much more than you think. Much more. Miss Morgan, Patricia Your father would like to ask you a favor. He wants you to tell that red devil that in exactly 24 hours he must be in the house. He knows the house I mean. If he fails, your father dies.
Run, Patty! Don't listen to him! Save yourself!
Father, Father, where are you? Are you all right?
Patricia, your father is in good condition. He's comfortable. He's feeling very well. For the moment.
But I don't know where Supersonic is. I don't know. I don't.
Calm down.
Remember, 24 hours.
But I don't know where he is. I don't.
Stupid girl. Like papa, like daughter. Stupid girl. You deserve a lesson.
Would you mind eating at my place?
No.
Careful. Over here. Now. Run for it. Quick, the car. Go.
Splendid. Now, for the last time, will you work for me?
Never. I'll never work for you. A madman, a paranoid...
Shut up. Your insults bore me. You bore me. Consider my words carefully. Will you give me the formula?
Never.
Very well. Attention. Emergency. Mr. Peterson?
Yes, sir.
Plan 247.
Right, Dr. Gulick.
I'm glad that monster didn't spoil our dinner.
I don't know how you can joke about it.
It's already too serious for us to make it worse.
But what are we going to do? My father's in danger, and so are we. I have to find Supersonic.
Wait, where are you going?
I don't know, but we can't just stay here when my father's life is in danger.
Come on, Supersonic promised to save your father. Trust him.
But how can I be sure?
Just trust him. You better spend the night here. You need the rest. I'll sleep on the couch.
But I'm frightened.
Nothing's going to happen. Not to you, not to your father. I promise you. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Come in. I'm glad you received my invitation. I thought you might be early. I don't know who you are or who you represent, but you've committed a grave error in upsetting my plans. You've made a mistake. Quite a foolish mistake, really. But the game is over, and you lose. Now, like Caesar, like the victor, I demand that you surrender unconditionally. Otherwise, if you don't, Professor Morgan and his daughter will die. Oh, and there's more, much, much more. There is a city, New York, with its teeming millions of mindless mortals. This city will be erased, eradicated, obliterated. So you can see it's a matter of life and death that you surrender to me within the appointed time. Now I will give you a modest demonstration of my immense power. There is an island, a barren, uninhabited island in the Pacific. The area is nearly twice the size of Manhattan. In that drawer, there's a map which will enable you to identify it. And please, no heroic. They'd be useless. Don't attempt to change the plan. It won't do any good. If you do, you pay attention too, Professor.
You wouldn't dare.
Within the next few seconds, you'll be convinced.
You murderous maniac.
Peterson, you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. Any problems? None, sir. Everything's ready to go.
Perfect. Perfect. Bravo! Bravo! Beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Now you see power. My power. My supreme energy.
Paul. Where are you? Paul.
Well, it looks as if our guest is arriving sooner than we expected him. Now I am impressed. Very well. Now we'll see how he reacts to the corrosive gases.
Your defense systems are useless. Perhaps you've met the enemy you deserve.
A battle is not a war, Professor, and this is just the beginning.
Damn you. We'll try the cold. We'll see if you like the cold as much as the heat.
You fell into the trap. Supersonic. You see, Professor, now all your hopes are dead. Now we'll begin to tame this brute. As you see, Morgan, the Force, supreme. Supreme. And it is my Force. I am the Force. Watch carefully. How can you deny the evidence? There is nothing that can stop me. The moment has arrived. Watch the screen. They're super satellites. Should I ever decide to launch this concentration of solar energy on specific targets on Earth, like Washington, London, Rome, the world's capitals would disappear like that. And once I've finished this great undertaking, who will dare challenge me?
What drives you, Dr. Gulick?
What drives me? What drives any man? Destiny. I know. I'm the man of destiny.
You damned maniac! Shoot him! Shoot! Damnation. You! Get it! Destroy him! Destroy him!
Professor Morgan. Look after him. Notify his daughter.
time to live and a time to die. A time to avenge and destroy.
Any complications?
It's all going very well. Your father will be home in a week. You can see him now for a few minutes. But please don't tire him.
Thank you, Doctor. Father. Father, how do you feel?
Fine. Don't worry. Don't worry about me.
Are you sure you're all right? Really?
Yes.
I was so worried about you.
Oh, don't worry.
Your mission accomplished. Activate location signal. Rendezvous in 90 minutes. Activate location signal.
Huh? And it works, too. Come on, let's get out of here before someone comes looking for it. Come on, Sugar.
Paul, what are you doing out here?
Nothing. I thought you'd like to be alone with your father.
Don't be silly. I want you to know him. You helped save his life.
No. It was Supersonic, and he did a very good job.
Yes, he did. But what would I have done without you?
Oh, come on.
Yes, I'm sure this little gadget's gonna bring us good luck. Sugar! Sugar! Save me!
Supersonic Man just thinks it's good to walk into the kitchen of a restaurant and make off with a bottle of wine because he has a date that night, huh?
Apparently so. Look, when you have the powers of the Force from the galaxies, you just waltz into anywhere and show off that package in those tiny Speedos and people will just give you bottles of wine and stuff for your date night. That's just how things work.
Too bad that flame-throwing robot cockblocks Supersonic Man.
Yeah, that was a design flaw in that model. This would be the final role for actress Diana Polikov, who's playing Patricia in this movie. She was only in the TV and movie biz for about 5 years. She appeared on 4 television shows and 6 movies. One of her previous movies was The People Who Owned the Dark in 1976. Now, that movie was directed by Leon Klimovsky, who we talked about last year when we watched Vengeance of the Zombies. Now, there is one scene in this final act that was absolutely ripped off from Superman. First, Gulick threatens an entire town, much like Lex Luthor did with Hackensack, New Jersey.
Not Hackensack.
Yep, the very same place you would never want to be caught without a bus ticket out of there. But then he tests Supersonic Man with feats of strength. Gulick is basically forcing our hero down a hallway that has all sorts of things like corrosive gas, loud noise, ice, etc. Luthor does that in Superman too, at least the testing of the power stuff. It's clearly a complete take on that. I'd even go so far as to say the destruction of Gulick's hideout with the water busting through the walls and stuff is similar to when Luthor set the nuclear warhead into the San Andreas Fault. Generally speaking, this movie, which was probably off the rails from the start, kind of has an exciting conclusion that has things blow up. I mean, Professor Morgan gets lasered, but he survives, I guess. There's a spaceship that Supersonic Man has to stop, and I guess that's where Cameron Mitchell was and trying to destroy Supersonic Man. So when that got blown up, Cameron Mitchell got blown up too, I guess? But anyway, let's get your thoughts on the movie, Nurse.
You sure you want to know?
Well, yeah, why wouldn't I?
Okie dokie. Supersonic Man kinda sucks. I'm sorry, but it does not work for me like the Puma Man did. And boy, I like the Puma Man a lot, but dig this. Sure, I liked that theme song. I was getting down on that pretty much every time it played. It's neat that Supersonic Man had that Apple Watch like 40 years before anyone else. That's pretty sweet. But woof, that dialogue is bad. Like, really bad. I think there was some stuff that was lost in translation because things are said so deadpan and seriously. But it's really goofy. Why have that drunk show up every 10 minutes or so? Was he the main star or was it Supersonic Man? There are so many editing issues. It's like every scene opens on so many establishing shots of Supersonic Man flying around before we get into the meat of the scene. Or maybe Dr. Gulick is just sitting there and then the scene starts. At least Cameron Mitchell is awesome in this role playing evil William Shatner. That's fun. And at least the movie had a deep budget for pyrotechnics. In fact, it's possible they spent all their money on those pyrotechnics instead of costumes or editing or a script or an interesting character. In all, I gotta score this one pretty low. I'm gonna give Supersonic Man 2 poops out of 5.
Wow, you're not that into this at all, huh?
Sorry, I know you were really looking forward to featuring this movie.
No, it's fine. There's a reason why I was so excited to do this movie. One, it's a bad superhero movie, and I like superhero movies, and the bad ones can be oh so much fun. But two, Cameron Mitchell is in it, and that's always fine by me too. But the main reason is because it is one of those movies that seems to be made for B-Movie Enema. Whether it was for the blog or for the show, Supersonic Man doesn't just have a silly superhero with a bad costume or weird comedy bits or a flame-throwing robot. It also has connections to things that make B-Movie Enema run. In 2013, Mystery Science Theater 3000 alumni Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbett did Supersonic Man 4 riff tracks. And that was the first time I saw that movie, and it was hilarious. It was also the final movie featured on Son of Svengoolie in 1986. Now, naturally, Son of Svengoolie would return later on after a revival, and he inherited the mantle of Svengoolie. So this movie has some notoriety from things that I like quite a bit and take a lot of inspiration from. Now, here's the thing about this. it's likely a somewhat popular movie. At least at one point in time it was. I'm guessing this played often on late night TV in various cities and markets. It might have been shown on cable a lot too. By the time it got here in the early 80s, cable was still somewhat new and was probably hungry for content. So movies like Supersonic Man and The Puma Man were easy pickings. So I'm guessing that the Riff Tracks guys, or probably Svengoolie, sought this movie out because they caught it on TV at some time and thought, whoa, look at this. But in Spain, where the movie originated, it sold over 750,000 tickets. Now, I'm not too sure what that translates to in terms of money. Some countries talk about grosses, like Star Wars grossed X number of dollars. Other countries, like Japan, will say they sold X number of tickets instead. So the most popular movies, like the Godzilla films, would sell a lot of tickets. I would have to think, compared to the budget on display here for Supersonic Man, that 750,000 tickets sold in Spain alone made this movie profitable, at least to a certain extent. At the very least, it had to have made turning a profit somewhat easy to do once it got exported into other countries. But the fact of the matter is that this movie got somewhat popular just by existing and, yes, by sucking. This movie sucks. It sucks a lot. You have almost no plot. The entire movie is about Gulick trying to get Professor Morgan to work with him so he can rule the world somehow. Morgan never caved to those threats and requests. Morgan just stands around while Gulick tells him about how much he thinks of himself. And then the scene ends with him asking Morgan to join him, and Morgan's like, nope. And then they go away to Paul and Patricia courting each other, then come back to have Gulick try again with Morgan, only to be shut down again. He even ups and shoots Morgan, so I guess he didn't need him after all? It's kind of completely nonsensical. We have those goofy characters like the drunk guy who always shows up, or the dumb goons that get hired as third-party transportation of kidnapped characters. While the music isn't that bad, it is clearly on a reel-to-reel machine that either has power issues or dying batteries, because the tone gets weird throughout the length as it plays. The picture early on of Morgan and his daughter, and they don't look like they know each other, just cracked me up when Paul looked at the paper and saw them. That's just stuff right out of the gate. The boxy robots that shoot fire. It's just a cacophony of badness. And to me, it all makes for a fun movie that can make for a great selection for a bad movie night with your friends. And that makes for a movie that is a match made in heaven for B-Movie Enema. But gosh, Nurse, 50 episodes.
I don't feel an episode over 37.
Well, regardless, this has been a great time. I'm glad that you've come along on this journey with me. I'm glad you folks out there watching right now have come, just been with me all this time. It's just been a blast to do this show.
But we're far from done.
Oh, right. No, we're far from closing up shop. We'll be back in March with our next episode.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a great time. All right. So I'm going to go strip down to my blue whitey tighties and put nothing else on but my blue, oddly cat-like cowl and lay on a table until you need me to host the next month's episode.
Ew.